Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Jonathan Voitko.
Good morning, everybody.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer-Burnett.
I, too, am feeling quaint today.
Ooh, that's a good mood to wake up in. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how the day's show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is the most important part. That's where we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to this show on one of our podcast feeds, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, by the way, guys, even if you don't often go to the podcast feed, do us a favor, go and subscribe to the podcast version. That way, in case you're driving or at the gym and you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, the audio podcast will have your back and it'll be there when you need it. Or maybe you're watching the show a little bit later in the day when we're not live. You can still send in a question to the tip link. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Also, guys, got an update for you as far as the movie meetup goes. We now have theaters and dates for the next 4 cities we're doing movie meetups in. Now, we've already done Phoenix and we've already done San Diego. Again, huge thank you to all you guys who came out to those movie meetups in Phoenix and in San Diego. We had a great time with you. Thank you so much. Well, now we've got the next 4 lined up. And they are
graphic.
On Thursday, September the 11th in Albuquerque. We are going to be at the Regal Windrock, and we're going to see The Thing.
Whoa!
At 6:30 p.m.
That's
I love
cool.
that. Okay, just to interject, I love that you're also doing throwback movies. Like you're doing.
I've never seen The Thing on the big screen.
Yeah.
What?
This is
Yeah,
awesome.
it was kind of a little bit before my
Yeah,
time.
I guess so.
I've never seen it on the big screen. And here's an interesting thing.
It's a great looking movie.
When I checked it, it had 1 seat sold. So then I put out on our socials last night and this morning there's like 25 seats sold. So
in your way, you're helping local economies.
Yeah, there you go. So there's still tickets available, but they are going fast. So that's Thursday, September 11th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to go see The Thing at 6:30. Then the next day, Friday, September the 12th, we will be in Denver. More specifically, Littleton, but right beside Denver, at the AMC Highlands Ranch 24, where we are going to see The Long Walk.
Nice.
At 7:40. Now, as of right now, tickets for The Long Walk are not available yet, but AMC is already advertising their show times. So just keep an eye on the AMC website for when tickets become available and snatch them up. Again, that's going to be the AMC Highlands Ranch 24 at the 7:40 p.m. screening of The Long Walk. Then the next night, we're going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we are going to go see Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers at the Megaplex Gateway at the 6:10 show. By the way, tickets for that are almost all sold out. So if you live in the Salt Lake City area and you want to come, make sure you go to the Megaplex Gateway website, the 6:10 show for Saturday, September 13th, and get your tickets now. Then the final night of this little stretch of the movie meetups is going to be on Sunday, September 14th in Las Vegas at the AMC Town Square. And we are going to once again go to see The Long Walk. And that's going to be at 7:10 p.m. Once again, just like in Denver, the tickets aren't on sale yet, but the show times are listed. So just keep your eye on the AMC website. And just you guys, this is how this goes. It's really casual. You just buy a ticket to go see the movie. I'm going to be at those movies too. We're going to watch the movies together. And then afterwards, we're just going to hang out in front of the theater for like 45 minutes to an hour and just meet and talk to everybody for a bit. It's been a blast so far. So if you are in Albuquerque, Denver, Salt Lake City, or Las Vegas, we hope you will come out and join us. And yes, upcoming, we are going to do, we'll announce dates and all that kind of stuff later, but we will be doing places like Portland and Seattle, and we're definitely going to hit the San Francisco area, and we will head east, and we will do Texas, and we will do Florida. We'll do all these places, but this is the next bunch we have coming up. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys there. All right. With that all down, guys, let's get things started. We're going to start with this. on yesterday's show, we kind of mentioned a little bit that an interview that Eternal star Kumail Nanjiani recently did. And I went back and read it again. And I thought we should talk about it a little bit here. So, of course, Kumail Nanjiani, who, I mean, he was in, what was the HBO show he was in? The Silicon
Valley.
Yeah.
That's where
I think I first discovered him.
My real first discovery of him was when he did his little movie, The Big Sick, which honestly is one of my favorite films of the last 15 years or so. I think it's a really underappreciated, beautiful, hilarious movie. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. It's called The Big Sick. Ray Romano's in it. It's just incredible. It's an incredible movie. Anyway, so then he gets cast to be in Eternals, which I loved when they announced that. And quite frankly, I liked Eternals, but it didn't get the response that certainly Marvel was hoping for. It was one of the MCU's first financial non-hits.
That's a way to put it. A non-hit.
A non-hit. I mean, listen, by most movie standards, it made a lot of money.
Right.
But not by Marvel standards and not by Marvel budgets. It didn't. And, and it didn't get the critical reception or the fan reception that they were really hoping it would get. And we sometimes forget, and I especially include myself in this, that there's a human element to all this. That movie's hit and miss, but there are actually people behind it. And there's this great article. This is in IGN. Marvel's Eternal star, Kumail Nanjiani, says he originally signed on for 6 movies, a video game, and a theme park ride. It goes on to say this. On a recent episode of the Working It Out podcast, Nanjiani talked about his reaction to Eternal's release and its audience reception, saying that he originally signed with Marvel for 6 movies, a video game, and a theme park ride. At the time, he says, he thought, this is going to be my job for the next 10 years. I'll be doing Marvel movies every year, and in between, I'll be doing my own little things. Whatever I want to do. And then none of that happened. It's likely that the whatever big plans Marvel had for him and the other Eternals were pivoted away from when Eternals was received poorly, both by critics and audiences. Again, I really liked it, but there it is. And despite a strong initial box office performance, interest quickly fell off and the film ended up over budget. In 2022, Patton Oswalt seemed to tease that Eternals 2, also directed by Chloe Zhao. But unless Nanjiani is doing a really good bluff here, it sounds like that's not currently in the works. And by the way, the article then goes on where he talks about how he really thought the movie was good. And remember, there were people at Marvel who thought it might be their best movie they've ever made.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige loved it. He was all excited about it. Chloe Zhao had just won Best Director of the Year at the Academy Awards. I believe she also won the DGA that year, if I'm not mistaken. And the movie comes out. Rob, I know you really liked the movie a lot.
I did.
It was very, very different for an MCU, but the reality is it did not go over great. It didn't. I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it didn't go over great, and it did not make the money that Marvel was accustomed to them making. And Kumail Nanjiani talks about how that really hurt him. Like, he was, not just because it was his work and his movie, but he had started planning the next 10 years of his life. He really thought, this is my career now. I'm going to be this big Marvel superstar, likened unto, I mean, he doesn't say this, but likened unto a Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, because who knew Chris Hemsworth's name before he became Thor? Nobody, except some people who read the credits in the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. Oh, that guy, Chris Hemsworth is Captain Kirk's dad. And he maybe thought that for himself. And he said he even decided to go to therapy about it. Because he took it really hard when everything kind of failed and his world fell apart. And I thought that was interesting. You know, Rob, yesterday on the show, we did a game of what's more likely. And one of our audience members asked, what's more likely, an Ant-Man 4 or an Eternals 2? And we said both are very unlikely. But the more likely one I said would be Eternals 2, simply because I thought it was much better than Ant-Man 3, but also because, well, Kevin Feige really likes that movie. Again, I don't think they're going to make another one. I do think we will see Eternals pop up in other movies, maybe even Doomsday and stuff like that, or Secret Wars. But I felt really bad reading this, because he'd had all the success going and everything like that. Anyway, what did you make of Nanjiani's comments here and, really the future of whatever could be Eternals related in the MCU?
Well, I really sympathize and empathize with this because, like from my own experience, I worked on Superman Returns and I was only the documentarian on that film, but I was there the entire time they shot that movie for a year.
You were there from beginning to end.
And you're looking at the cast and the crew giving 110%. And you're watching, I was going to the edit bay every night looking what John Ottman was doing and they're putting together an Elliot Graham and they're doing these scenes and the scenes were incredible. You're looking like the plane crash scene, even with previs in it. You're looking at this, and everybody, when people are working on a movie, everyone's convinced they're going to win the Academy Award.
To your point, I remember once when Erin Cummings, she once said on the show, she goes, every time you appear in a show, after your first day on set, in the mirror in the morning, you're practicing your Emmy acceptance speech.
And it's true. And, when you're working with all these incredibly talented people, and I've always said, John, that there's a bit of alchemy. There's a bit of magic. There's a little bit of Rumpelstiltskin spinning straw into gold when it comes to making films. And sometimes they just don't come together in ways that, or for whatever reason, they don't turn out the way that you hope. But everybody's given their 110%. Nobody's phoning it in. And, you can't, when you see something put together, it's really difficult to get a sense of how a movie's going to be while you're working on it.
Yeah.
You can't, as you've made a movie.
Yeah.
And so you're working on getting all these things and it's a very different experience. And so even when I saw Eternals, I really liked it. I liked the vibe of the whole movie. I liked the design. I love the way the characters looked. I liked the interplay on it and of what was going on. But upon reflection, some of it just didn't work. The ideas of the deviants, and the fact that they were so disassociated with the rest of the MCU, whatever reason. But when you're working on it, like Kumail, he was told what was going on. You're looking at the great success of Marvel. This was a movie that was post-Endgame. So you've got 23 movies to look at. It's the most successful franchise ever.
Yeah.
So it's not just a single movie. You've seen the enormous success of Marvel. So why would you ever think other than you're being gifted with a great joy?
Especially when the boss is saying he loved the movie. When the boss is saying, I love this movie.
And your director wins an Academy Award.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe me, I empathize, and I've gone through it many times, and it's sad.
You raise a great point, Rob, about, I think a lot of film fans, again, one of the big fallacies of us as a species is that we think everything that other people do is easy.
Right.
People think making movies is easy. Oh, it didn't work out well. They just didn't try. No, I guarantee you, even the worst, Catwoman. All right. Everybody involved with that project gave everything they had. Highlander 2. Everybody who worked on that movie gave everything they had, with the exception of maybe Sean Connery, who at that point in his career was kind of phoning it in. But Battlefield Earth. All right. One of maybe the worst film in the history of film. They tried their hardest.
Yeah.
And the director of that film, I remember even
Roger Christian.
He got a hold of George Lucas and was so proud of the film before anybody else saw it. He called George Lucas, who he had worked with, and said, "Can I come up to the ranch and show you the movie?" And that's the thing. And I think a lot of us forget sometimes that even when a movie turns out bad, because like Rob said, when you're on set and shooting, you have it in your head how it's all coming together, but it ain't till you're in that editing room, Rob, and you really get a sense for how a movie starts coming together.
There's a story that David Harbour told. He was doing a tour of his home. It's a beautiful home. And in his home, he has this giant poster of the 1980s Masters of the Universe framed.
With Dolph Lundgren.
Yes. And he says, this isn't up here ironically. He said, I look at this every day and I think of, oh my gosh, who played Skeletor in that?
Frank Langella.
I think of Frank Langella, the great actor. He endured hours and hours of daily makeup for this movie, and he put his all into this movie. And sometimes as actors, all we can do is our all, and this is how it comes out, but we keep going.
And you know what? Then he did Hellboy.
Yeah.
And he had the exact same scenario. He was a really good Hellboy.
Yeah.
But that movie turned out bad.
Well, and also we as fans, and I'm guilty of this, we as fans are the first people to anoint something great or to say, this sucks. You know,
I know.
and I think
hate-
that's
yeah.
the worst kind of look. To say something just sucks is the laziest, most awful thing that I think any of us can say, because that shows you haven't really thought about your own opinion. It just sucked. John, there's a lot of movies I know that they're not good. But I love them for whatever reason.
Right.
Like I'll come out.
We all have those.
Yeah, but the thing is, the reason there's one movie in particular called Star Crash. Everybody that worked on it and the director, they did everything they could to make this movie the coolest Star Wars, the Italian ripoff of Star Wars they possibly could. And I love it for that. I love it for what I knew they were doing. Now, I would never tell anybody to watch it. I love it, and I don't apologize for loving it. But I think that that's something we as film fans should be a little bit more mindful of, except when it comes to modern Star Trek.
Which is fantastic. Well, some of it's fantastic.
Only
some of it
some.
is not. Some of it is not.
Not this
but some
week's
of it is.
episode.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you take away from this? Kumail Nanjiani talking about how he signed a 6-film deal and he was going to do a theme park ride. He was going to be in a video game and didn't quite work out for him. Anyway, whatever your thoughts about it are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, we've been talking a lot lately about the upcoming Harry Potter series in HBO, and for good reason. I mean, I remember I really sat up and paid attention when they announced who all the showrunners and producers of it were. I mean, these are the top of the top people in the business, too. And I'm like, holy crap, they're taking this seriously. Then the casting started to come out, and I think they've absolutely nailed all the casting, and we've seen some production stills. But the one character that we still don't know who's playing them, because honestly, they're going to have a pretty small role in the first season anyway. But is he whose name shall not be spoken, Voldemort. Now, of course, played by the single greatest actor in the world who doesn't have an Academy Award, Ralph Fiennes. In the movie versions, we got to get ourselves a TV version for him, and we don't have that yet. Now, one of the leading names was Matt Smith, but Matt Smith just did an interview yesterday saying, I love that character, but it isn't going to be me. So that kind of took that away. But it got me thinking, Rob. And my thoughts went, who could play Voldemort? And I decided to give some thought to it. And I would like to present to you guys 10 names.
Ooh.
That some of them are very different from each other. Some of them a little bit similar, some of them very different. But I think all of them, for their own reasons, would do a great job playing Lord Voldemort in the new Harry Potter series. I think you're going to like a couple of these names too. I think you're going to like my first name.
Okay.
First name I'm going to bring up. He's been around long before, but I fell in love with him with the offer.
Yeah.
Matthew Good.
Robert Evans.
Oh,
As Robert
I
Evans.
love that.
Matthew Good as Voldemort. By the way, you know what's the cherry on top of it? Did you see why am I freezing on the name of the little vampire horror movie we watched, Jonathan?
Oh,
the little girl, the dancer.
Yeah.
Abigail.
When he shows up in Abigail, I'm like, wait, is that Matthew Good?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like doing it. I thought like he was only in that movie for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And he owned it. Like he was so good in that.
He was in Tom Ford's first feature, A Single Man. He was incredible. And obviously he played Ozymandias in Watchmen, but I thought he was great what he was doing, but I thought he was miscast. I thought the take on the character wasn't his fault.
Right.
Was not what it should have been, but I still loved him. And I mean, as Bob Evans, that guy deserved an Emmy. It's a great shame that he didn't get it. Mm-hmm. They should still do a Bob Evans TV show. I love the idea of Matthew Good as Voldemort. Love it.
He would kill it. All right. Got 9 more to give you. When I think of Voldemort, this is one of the guys whose image just pops into my head. Hugo Weaving. Agent Smith. Lord Elrond. I think Hugo Weaving with that pure, he's got a power menace about him when he really wants to turn it on. And I think him as Voldemort, I think he would absolutely kill it. So if they were to announce him, I'd be all for it. So Hugo Weaving is the second name I want to throw in there. Third name, brilliant actor, Oscar caliber, and therefore it's never a mistake to add talent. I'm going to throw out there Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, come on. Tell me he would not be great as Voldemort. He absolutely would kill it as Voldemort. So he's going to be the third name that I throw in there as well. All right. My fourth name might catch some people by surprise, but I really want you to think about him for a second in the role. Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston as Voldemort. Listen, he's got something that Ralph Fiennes brought to it when he played him was not just the evil, which he did the evil great. He also brought a bit of suaveness to him.
Yeah.
Right? He's a highbrow villain in his own eyes. And I picture very different from the way he plays Loki, but I can absolutely picture Tom Hiddleston doing that.
I agree. Plus, he could bring an element of malevolent whimsy to it.
Yep.
Where it's not always like he will gleefully tear your throat out if he needs to.
Yeah. A little more hard edge than say a Loki or something
Yes.
like that. I think you do it well. All right. My fifth name, as we make it to the halfway mark of my list, is a name that, listen, this is not new to me. I've seen a lot of other people mention this person, but I have to fully agree. Cillian Murphy.
100%.
Just coming off, of
He's
course,
on my list.
yeah, coming off an Academy Award win, that kind of stuff. He, once again, he can play hero. He can play villain. We've seen him do both. His range is astronomical. And he's not a scene stealer. Like he's one of these A-list actors that doesn't feel like I have to be in the A-list role every time. He would fit in and just immerse himself in whatever way they designed this world of Harry Potter. And him as the villain, I think he'd crush it.
I mean, look at the difference between him and Peaky Blinders and Oppenheimer.
Yes. Like his range is spectacular.
Really good.
So I think he'd do this really well too. All right. I want to throw this in. It's going to jar some people because they think more comedic with him. But if you watch his larger body of work, this dude's an incredible performer. Coming out of Succession, Matthew McFadden, by the way, just won a whole ton of awards, from Golden Globes to Emmys and stuff like that, for his role in there. I thought he was absolutely hilarious on the lighter end in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like there are honestly, in a movie filled with huge laughs, his line right near the end, as Peter Poole and the girl from the TVA are kind of flirting and having a moment, and he bursts out with, "What the fuck is happening?" It's one of the biggest laughs in every time I saw the theater. But listen, he can play cold.
Oh,
And like a Tom Hiddleston, he's got the suaveness to him as well. I think he'd do it really well.
he was in a show that I dearly love it's called MI5 here. In the UK, it was called Spooks. He was in the first season. He played Tom Quinn, who's basically one of the leaders of MI5, an agent. He was great. Ruthless, cold, efficient. He could do it.
He can do it all. And so I think, and again, award-winning actor, that's the type of stuff, that's the type of person they seem to be looking for in this series. So I think he would fit in really well there. All right. 3 more. I always knew this one was going to be on it. The moment I knew I wanted to put this list together, this name was going to be on it. Tim Roth. Tim Roth as Voldemort. Now, I first fell in love with he's been around a long time, but I really fell in love with his work when he was my co-star in my Hulk movie, in which he just absolutely owned every bit of screen time he had. But you go over all his extensive body of work. This guy can play hard edge. There's an intimidation factor about him that is absolutely huge. Now, I just used the word huge. The one knock that some people I'm sure will bring against him is that he's a shorter actor, and maybe you want your Voldemort to be a little taller. Okay, you know what? There's things you can do to work around that. It's not a big deal. The important thing is he's an incredible actor and he can embody this character really well. So that's why I've got him on my list. So I got Tim Roth on there. Last 2. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who might disagree with these last 2. for two very different reasons, but I'm sticking with it and I'm standing by it. Number 9, again, these are in no particular order. Jeremy Irons. I think one of the key things about anybody playing Voldemort has got to be the voice. And when you are talking about the all-time greatest voices in the history of film, you're going to have names obviously like James Earl Jones. I would put up there an Anthony Hopkins. There's going to be several names. Jeremy Irons' voice is in that list. Jeremy Irons' name is on that list. And you put him in that makeup and you have his voice become the voice of Voldemort. There's a phrase you often use, Rob. It instantly classes up the joint.
Yeah, you have no argument for me.
It'll bring the atmosphere, that dread you want the audience to feel when Voldemort's on screen. Just him speaking will do it. Now, he's a little older for the role. And that's why I think there's going to be some people who disagree with it. And I appreciate that. But again, the makeup and all that kind of stuff, I think he'd be great in it.
I almost feel like if he's already cast, but he could have also been a runner for Dumbledore, honestly.
Yeah, I think he could have been a great Dumbledore too. 100%. I think they took the right guy though.
I love it. Yeah.
I think they got the right guy for Dumbledore, but that one could have been in too. Sorry, I said there was only 2. If there were 3 left. So now there's 2 left. So that's Jeremy Irons. The next one, it's going to be kind of out in left field, but I believe he is one of the absolute finest actors in the world. I first came across this guy as a villain in a little movie called Serenity, in which he played a villain called the Operative, which I, without any hesitation, have in my top 10 greatest screen villains of all time. He's been nominated for Academy Awards. I think he's one of the greatest thespians out there. Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is simply one of the best actors in the world, I think. I really do. I don't think he's always given the opportunity to show it, but every time he's in something, even a bad movie. What was that one with Mark Wahlberg where he realized Mark Wahlberg discovers he was like an immortal? Something like that. It was kind of a Highlander ripoff sort of thing. And then Chiwetel Ejiofor is also, and yet it's a terrible movie, but Chiwetel Ejiofor killed it in that. He absolutely killed it in that. People in the live chat are saying the movie's called Infinite. Absolutely killed it in that. He's simply one of the best. And you, again, talking about the Tom Hiddleston aspect, that suaveness. Oh my God. Guys, if you have not seen Serenity, go and watch him as the Operative. Tell me he doesn't terrify you in that. He's great. So again, Chiwetel Ejiofor. Then my last one. And I think everybody's going to disagree with this because they only think of one kind of angle to this with him. But I'm telling you, I think this would be for this guy what Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was for Jim Carrey. I'm going to say Simon Pegg.
Wow.
I think Simon Pegg is one of these comedic guys that everybody looks at a certain way. But there have been moments and little projects where he has been far more serious. And again, I think, I'm not saying he's like in the pantheon of comedic guys who have become dramatic. There's really 2 names. There's Tom Hanks and there's Jim Carrey. I'm not saying he's Tom Hanks and Jim Carrey. Okay. I'm not saying that, but he's got that element to him. I think he's got that X factor, and him stepping in there. I wanted at least one out of left field kind of pick. And I propose Simon Pegg as that out of left field pick. I think he would do really well in it. So just once again, here are the guys I have. I have Matthew Good. I have Hugo Weaving. I have Benedict Cumberbatch. I have Tom Hiddleston. I have Cillian Murphy. I have Chiwetel Ejiofor. I have Matthew McFadden. I have Tim Roth. I have Jeremy Irons. And my out of left field pick, my way out there one, but I actually think would be really good, is Simon Pegg. I think if any of those guys And there's probably 50 other guys, if they got announced, we'll be excited about too. But I think if any one of these guys gets announced, I'm going to be stoked. Rob, do any of my picks stand out to you? And do you have any others?
I think they're all good picks. Even Simon Pegg. I mean, I love Matthew Good. I've got 3 additional picks for you. 3.
Please, hit me.
2 Frenchmen. Lambert Wilson, who played the Merovingian in Matrix Reloaded.
Yep. He was so good in that.
So good. Vincent Cassel.
Yep.
Who I love both as a hero but mostly as a villain. And then also one of my favorite British actors of all time is Richard E. Grant. Who
I should have known you'd put Richard Grant in there.
Yeah, there's Vincent Cassel. I mean, I love
Vincent Cassel's a freaking boss.
I mean, everyone wants a British actor, but I love Vincent Cassel. You know, he was in movies like Lahane, The Hate when he was younger. I think he was in a movie called Doberman that I love. And then Lambert Wilson, just because he was like Voldemort in the Matrix, and when they brought him back in like Matrix Resurrections or whatever the whole
what a failure
it wasn't, you know. But then, and I love Richard E. Grant. So,
by the way, I totally missed this. Somebody in the live chat pointed this out, and I don't know why I missed this. Although they don't ever share any screen time, but someone pointed out it would be a Simon Pegg and Nick Frost reunion.
Yep.
I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Then all you got to bring is Edgar Wright to direct a couple of the episodes, and you'll have a real family reunion.
Neither of you. I was really thinking someone was going to say Steve Buscemi. No one. Okay.
I got a question for you.
Now, he walks into Hogwarts and drops the "Hello, fellow kiddies."
Before you say that this is sacrilegious and you can't do this,
All right.
could you ever see a world where Lord Voldemort was gender swapped to a female character?
Here's the only reason why
Because I'll tell you something. You know who I would want? Only because I want Cate Blanchett to play a villain, and I was thinking
she played Bob Dylan. Why can't she play Voldemort?
But Tar is one of my favorite movies of the last 25 years.
Yeah,
I love
so
Tar, but she was such a great villain in that. I could see Cate Blanchett playing Voldemort.
She would have to still have the name Tom Riddle, though, because the anagram wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, I know. But you could even have her play, like you were saying, almost as genderless. You know, maybe I just love. I think I want to see Cate Blanchett do the ultimate villain turn.
She was great as Hela.
I know.
She was really, really good as Hela. So,
but as Hela, she was very feminine.
Yes.
You know, and with that outfit, va 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 voom.
Look, and I'll go one step further. Don't gender swap the character. Just have Cate Blanchett play him.
Right.
Again, she's done it before.
Yeah, yeah.
With the makeup and with the voice.
Yes,
I mean,
dude. I'm just with her.
She can do it.
I love her face.
Yeah.
And as Voldemort, there would be, and yeah, you're right. Have her play it gender. Yeah.
Just play him.
I'm just throwing it out there. Watch, people are gonna blow me up.
You know what? Someone said comments. Ralph Innes, and I kind of like that.
Say Ralph Macchio.
Oh well, hey, come on. You know what, Ralph? Oh, in my cast,
Macchio.
I'm gonna walk into a studio.
Harry.
Listen, guys. Ralph Macchio. I'm walking into Warner Brothers. Ralph Macchio, and we're going. Who did I say? Steve Buscemi, and they're gonna
hello, fellow
kindly
kids.
escort me out of the building.
But Galactus.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? He's again. He doesn't have Jeremy Irons' voice, but he's got a great voice.
I think he has a physicality too.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, those are just a bunch of names we'd like to throw out there. What do you think of them? Are any of the names on there really appealing to you? Do you have some other names you'd like to add to the list? Whatever you guys, I mean, obviously, but the big obvious one, Paul Walter Hauser and Chris Pratt. But we decided to put those aside and leave those for you guys to put on the list. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, we've talked a lot on this show about the fact that it's not a question anymore. It is a proven, data-driven statistical fact. If you have a good show on streaming, if you release it week to week, it ends up being much more successful than if you just drop it all at once. It's not up for debate anymore. We can debate what we like more, because a lot of times we as bingers, we like it when they just drop it all at once. But what's best for the show, if it's good, is to release it week over week. Amazon knows this, which is why it was kind of befuddling to some people when Fallout Season 1 came out and they just dropped the whole series at once. Everybody loved it, but it didn't stick around in the pop cultural conversation for very long. That is a great image. I love that. And it just kind of disappeared. Well, Amazon learned their lesson. They maybe weren't all that sure how Fallout was going to be received initially, but now they know. And it's been made official. This is actually a couple days old, but we were busy the other day, so we're just getting around to it now. But as according to a report in Gizmodo, thank God, Fallout Season 2 is going to release week to week. This is what they wrote there. Just as Lucy, the star of Fallout, continues to learn about the decimated world around her, so too has its streamer, Prime Video. After inexplicably breaking its own mold and releasing the entire first season of the show at once, Season 2 will be released weekly. It premieres on December 17th with 8-episode season rolling out with 1 new episode weekly until the season finale on February 4th, according to a press release. Hallelujah, writes Gizmodo. The first season of the show was a massive success for the streamer, but it also came and went from the cultural conversation much sooner than it usually would have because the whole thing dropped at once, which is something we talk about all the time here. What made the decision even more confusing is that Prime Video doesn't usually do that. The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, Invincible, The Boys, most of the big genre shows were released weekly. Then here comes Fallout, one of the most highly anticipated video game adaptations ever, and made by the same people who made Westworld, and they all dropped at once. That would have made sense if it sucked, but clearly it did not. Now, again, that last statement is something I've said too. If you're unsure how your show is going to be received, or if you don't have a lot of confidence in your show, it makes much more sense to drop it all at once.
Sure.
Because you want it to come and go quickly, right? You don't want people week after week slowly falling off your show and having bad word of mouth. And I totally get that. But if you know you've got a good show, again, we've shown the data on here before. A good episode drops. People buzz about it, talk about it. Maybe people who didn't even know the show was there or weren't really thinking about it, they hear the talk about it. And maybe they jump on for week 2. Well, now there's only 2 episodes been out. People are talking about it more. It gets more build up. More people jump on board. There's only 2 episodes so far. They get caught up. And we've seen that happen where then the ratings build and build and build. And instead of talking about a show for a few days, again, I bring up WandaVision. When WandaVision came out, that is all any of our viewers wanted to talk about every single day for 2 straight months.
Dude, that was wild.
Yeah, it was huge.
We were all gripped.
And
Is Mephisto going to show up this week?
We're talking about Alien Earth. For the last 2, every week, we're talking about Alien Earth because they're dropping it week to week. This is 100% the right decision for Amazon. They've seen what happens with their shows that they know are good and are being received well when you do the week-to-week release. We've seen the numbers climb. Again, I understand that there are some people who prefer to watch as a binge. That's totally fair. But what you and I prefer is different from what works best for the show. This is clearly what works best. It's proven over and over again, and I think this is a good move. Rob, what do you think about this?
I think it's a fantastic move, and I think you're probably right, or everybody's a little bit right here, that I don't think they necessarily had faith in the show, although I find that to be strange because one of the great things about Fallout was I thought it had one of the strongest opening scenes. Remember that Walton Goggins was at that party? He was like a party entertainer.
Yep.
And and then you see the nukes go off in downtown LA. That whole opening, I'm like, I was in. Like, I was like, this show is probably going to suck. I mean, even though Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan were doing it, I'm like, give me a break. After that opening scene and the rest of that first episode, man, I was in. I was locked in. And it was fun that, the thing is, though, you want to watch, if a show's that good, you want to binge the whole thing at once. Well, what if it's like 10 o'clock at night? And you've watched the first episode and you're like, I got to get up for work tomorrow, man. Yeah. I got to take a shower and get here. Then you can't. Then it's annoying to have all the episodes. Yeah. I like anticipating shows. I like if I like, every week is like Christmas. You forget the show's on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my God, the new episode just dropped. And it's I love that.
As a fan, my favorite thing about week to weeks as a fan is that me and my friends are always at the same spot in the show. We're all on episode 2. We're all on episode 3. we're all in episode 4. And it was really frustrating when I remember when like Punisher season 2 came out, which everybody loved and then nobody talked about anymore after 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But it's like trying to talk to a friend about it. It's like, okay, I'm done the series. Where are you at? Oh, I got through the first 2. Oh, okay. So we can't really talk about it yet or whatever. It's just, again, preferences aside, the data just shows that if your show is good, it's going to reap a lot of rewards and have a lot more payoff. And here's the thing. The first Fallout, season 1, dropping all at once, I believe it's the 3rd highest viewed original show on Amazon. Imagine what their numbers would have been had they done week to week, because everybody loved that show from episode 1.
And then you allow more people to join in.
Yeah, and then people say, "Have you watched Fallout? It's awesome."
Yeah,
Becomes that water cooler talk, even though a lot of water coolers aren't in a lot of offices that don't exist anymore. But you get it. It's on Zoom cooler talk.
Totally.
And
All right,
merchandising too.
Question is for you. What do you think about this? Amazon has done what I consider to be the very wise thing. And with Fallout Season 2, they're going to release 1 episode a week. I think it's absolutely the right move for them to do. How do you feel about it? Maybe you feel differently. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? We used to do buy and sell. We'll probably still do, but I was doing that. But I kind of lifted that from Pardon the Interruption on Sports Show. And
Sure.
A lot of things I've done, I've taken influence from some of my favorite sports shows. And one of my sports shows that I like watching is Rich Eisen. I've always really liked Rich Eisen.
I did too. I watched that show.
Yeah. And every week he does a thing he calls Overreaction Monday. And I thought, you know what? That would be cool to talk about in the movie realm stuff. So with great reverence to Rich Eisen, we've lifted our own version of Overreaction. Yep. So we are going to play a little overreaction thing here. Here's how it's going to go. Jonathan's going to read off a statement. And then Rob and I will simply say whether we think that statement is an overreaction or not. So, Jonathan, go ahead and start us off.
All right. With the success of Superman, the DCU will overtake the MCU within the next 3 years. Rob, overreaction?
I think that's an overreaction. I think, what does that mean? Overtake? Or you can have 23 movies that ended up having an average gross of $1 billion, finishing off with Infinity War, Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't think that we can say that about the DC universe right now.
Yeah,
I think the jury's way out on that.
I take it as meaning like in 3 years' time, the movies in 3 years will be more successful than the MCU's, and people will look more forward to the DCU movies than the MCU 3 years from now. You're talking to a guy who really loved the new Superman movie, but I agree. I think that's an overreaction. Listen, the MCU, even if they stayed mediocre for the next 3 years, which all signs are pointing to them getting better. Because since Captain America 4, which is not so great, they had Thunderbolts, which I thought was great. They had Fantastic Four, which I thought was really good. We got the new Spider-Man movie coming. Then we got but even if it stayed mediocre, I think it's going to take the DCU more than just 3 years even to get to where the MCU. Now, can they eventually surpass them? I think it's possible. But 3 years from now, yeah, Superman's great, Peacemaker's great, but I think that's an overreaction. All right, what's next?
We got Gal Gadot's window to become an A-list Hollywood leading actress is now completely closed after Snow White. John, overreaction?
No, that's not an overreaction. I got in so much trouble and I've gotten so much hate mail ever since they announced the casting of Gal Gadot. Because, I mean, well, obviously one of the most beautiful creatures, male or female, that walks the face of the earth. And by the way, at those DC fandoms, I became a fan of hers personally.
Right.
Like when I saw how she conducted herself, how she communicates, how she interacts with her co-stars, how she interacts with fans.
Yep.
I became a big fan of her as a personality. I think she's great. But she can't act to save her life. She's never been able to act to save her life. And I remember when they cast her as Wonder Woman, that was my big thing. I'm like, but this girl can't act. And there were a lot of defenders of her at first. Over the years, those defenders have fallen away. And then like she wasn't good in that Perot movie she did on the
Death on the Nile.
Yeah, Death on the Big Boat.
Hey.
Death of a Career.
Oh.
And then she was the witch. And you know what? When they cast her as the Wicked Queen in Snow White, I thought, this is her opportunity. Remember?
Yeah.
I was like, this is her opportunity. I think this is a great opportunity for her to showcase that she's grown as an actress, is getting outside of that bubble she's been. This is going to be a great showcase for her. She was terrible. She was terrible. But she's always terrible. In the hands of the right director, she can coast. In the hands of Patty Jenkins, she can coast as Wonder Woman, but you needed Chris Pine there to do the heavy acting lifting. She is horrible. She has always been horrible. And I don't see anybody. Now, listen, in the same way that Steven Seagal will still get some little C-level, straight-to-streamer little movie lead because some director couldn't get anybody with a name in it, but I can get Steven Seagal. Maybe she can lead a movie here or there, but I don't think any serious director in any serious movie is ever going to put her in the lead to carry it. And John, what about Cleopatra? I don't think that movie's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that movie's dead. So yeah, I think her window, I don't think it's an overreaction at all to say her window as being potentially becoming an A-list leading actress. I think that window is closed. Anyway, Rob, what do you think? Overreaction?
I have to reluctantly also agree. It's closed. And I like her very much for the same reasons like you did. Like, I've loved her watching her interviews. You know, I think she's a mother of 4.
Is that how many kids she has now?
I think so. And her husband's like some restaurant or a hotelier. What's a hotelier? Hotelier. He owns hotels.
I'm a hotel owner.
I'm a hotel owner. So, you know, I think she's going to be just fine. But yeah, I think I really liked her as Wonder Woman, but I just don't see. I mean, maybe somebody will find a good use for her. You never know. Somebody might come up with something. Look, I thought one of the great things in the world was casting Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan.
Yeah.
That was and then James Cameron's like, he's going to be the Terminator. Though that was playing someone's weaknesses and giving them something that it became their strength.
Right. And very few lines.
And very few lines. But the physicality of the look, no one says crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women better than Arnold Schwarzenegger
It's the best.
does.
It's the best. All right, what's next?
All right. We got, with the success of F1, Brad Pitt is now the #1 movie star in the world. Rob, overreaction or not?
I think it's an overreaction. I think that Brad Pitt is one of the great movie stars, but I don't think he's the #1 movie star. I mean, you might have his box office might have come up there, but I mean, if you were to say that, is Brad Pitt more of a movie star than Tom Cruise is? I don't think so.
I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. Now, I'm not going to say I 100% agree with it, but I don't think it's so egregious of a thought that I would call it an overreaction.
No.
You bring up Tom Cruise, right? His last couple of movies have kind of disappointed, even with the big IP names like Mission Impossible. They haven't delivered, like, yeah, Top Gun Maverick. But since then, some people might want to then say Leonardo DiCaprio. But, I mean, nobody went to go see his last movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. Like, nobody.
And then we've got One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another, which I think looks good, but
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to go to see it.
I don't know
Right.
if PTA movies are like billion-dollar movies, so
Yeah, but I mean, but Brad Pitt has had a couple of years where he's won Oscars. He's now got this big hit with F1. I mean, he's always been one of the bigger names.
And I've always loved him.
And I've always loved him. So would I call him the biggest movie star in the world? Maybe not, but I wouldn't look at you funny if you said he was.
I would agree with
And
that.
therefore, I'm not going to say it's an overreaction.
But you know what? I think Brad Pitt is best when he's in a big ensemble.
oh yeah,
I love him like in the Ocean's movies. I loved him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know, I've always
how
loved
good
him.
was he in Bullet Train?
Good.
How good was he in Bullet Train?
So good in Bullet Train. Again, a great ensemble.
Yep.
I mean, he was the lead in that, but he got to act with a lot of other actors. And I think, to be honest, I think that's probably what he likes to do most.
Yeah, probably. All right, what's next?
Avatar 3 will easily be the number one box office film of 2025. John, overreaction or not?
Not an overreaction at all. I mean, look, what do we got right now? We've got $1 billion film this year. That's Lilo and Stitch. And that just kind of crawled over it. Do I think that Avatar 3 will make as much as the first Avatar and approach $3 billion films? Or $3 billion movie? No, I do not. Do I think it'll make as much as Avatar 2? No, I don't. But it'll easily clear 1.5, something like that. I think it's going to finish somewhere between 1.5 and 2. And, you know, and what else do we have coming out in 2025? We got Wicked for Good, which I think is going to be a big hit, but the first one made in the 700 millions. So it might get to $1 billion, but it's not going to do much more than that, even if it does. Zootopia 2, the first film was $1 billion film. I don't think the second one will be $1 billion film. It'll be a big, big hit. It might be $1 billion film, but even if it does, I just don't see, I just can't make a case in my own head, Rob, to justify saying to myself that Avatar 3 won't be the biggest film of the year. So I don't think it's an overreaction to say it at all. What do you think?
Well, you can't bet against Jimmy C.
That's right. Yeah.
So no, it's not an overreaction. And I think, look, you know, I don't understand all these people there's all these people that like to say that they're not fans of Avatar. And
that's
yet,
the cool thing to say.
yeah, yet you look at
But
the
they're
box
great.
office and it's like nobody's making more transportive movies than the Avatar films. I mean, they're unbelievable. I think that because they're about love and family and togetherness, you know, that people have it's like, I'm tired of hearing it's Fern Gully in space. No, it's not that. What we're getting classical family entertainment in a gorgeous Pandoran wrapper. And I think a lot of people, like, it's not as cool. But, dude, I watch those movies with my jaw on the floor. They're astonishing to watch. And they've got Mordor Na'vi who forsaken their god Iowa, who are going to go to war with the good Na'vi or whatever the hell's going to happen with the Crack of Doom. I don't even know. All I know is that, man, I am so there for this movie. I don't think I was excited for the first Avatar movie, and I was excited for Way of Water. I am more excited for the Mordor Na'vi than I've been for the other two Avatar movies. Of all the this to me, in my mind, is the Return of the King of Avatar movies. It's got Mount Doom in it. That's why I'm calling it that. Mount Doom. It's the Return of the Queen, the Return of Iowa. That's what it is, and I can't wait, and I'm unapologetic. I can't wait.
Listen, I really like both of them. Like, I don't think either of them should have won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, but I think they're great. They're really well done, and yeah, there's just no conceivable way it doesn't become the number one film of the year. All right, what's next?
All right, here's our last one. With the recent box office performances of Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, Avengers Doomsday is in real danger of not hitting the $1 billion mark. Overreaction, Rob?
No. I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. Like we pointed out yesterday, the Russo brothers working with Kevin Feige at Marvel is a pretty good bet. They haven't missed. Winter Soldier, Civil War. I think Winter Soldier was $1 billion movie, wasn't it? Was it $1 billion?
Civil War I don't know about Winter.
That if it wasn't Winter Soldier, but Civil War was, and their two Avengers movies were $1 billion movies. So it's silly for me to say that. However, the Marvel, I mean, even with all those people, I think Marvel is fighting an uphill battle on this one. Now, I would normally say, of course it's going to make over $1 billion because all the Avengers movies have. But now things have changed. And so there's a possibility, small, but a possibility that it doesn't do $1 billion.
I'm going to call it the biggest overreaction on this list. It's almost to me as a sure thing as saying Avatar will be the biggest thing of the year. And here's why.
I don't know.
Even in the midst of this run of like Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and some films that came before it, what happened when Marvel put out, even in the midst of all this mediocrity they've done and their hit and miss, what happened when they put out their first true, real, big event film in a while? Deadpool and Wolverine. What happened when they did that? They made $1.3 billion.
That's true.
Also, to the point you already made, Kevin Feige with the Russo brothers, every Avengers film, blah, blah, blah. You look at the list of characters that are going to be in this, all that kind of stuff. But maybe even more important than that is that right now, everything seems to be back on track. Thunderbolts was great. Fantastic Four, I thought, was really good. But not only that, the rest of the comic book movie landscape is improving too. DC doesn't suck anymore. You know, we got Peacemaker and Superman that are getting huge responsives. And what do we have coming before Avengers Doomsday? Spider-Man Brand New Day. You put all of that together, especially to me, is in the midst of all the ups and downs of Marvel, when they dropped a big event film like Deadpool and Wolverine. Doesn't matter if the films before it and after it barely made much money. That movie made over $1.3 billion. Now you're going to pull in, you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. You're bringing in all the stars of everything they've done. Maybe you'll see Hugh Jackman in there too. Maybe you'll see Ryan Reynolds. By the way, contrary to popular belief, Ryan Reynolds has not been on the set of Avengers at all yet. But anyway, whatever. I just don't see any conceivable way. It's a different question on if the movie's going to be good or not. That's a different question we can have, a different discussion. But as to how many people are going to buy a ticket, are going to be curious about this to run out to see it, I just don't see any practical evidence just that they won't, whether it's good or not. I think it's an absolute overreaction to say this thing's in danger of not making $1 billion, but we'll see. Like, hey, listen, different discussion if Spider-Man No Way Home or Spider-Man Brand New Day completely sucks and flops to the box office. But does anybody believe that's going to happen either? I don't know. All right, guys, and that'll do it for Overreaction. Thank you for joining us as we did that. Let us know what you thought about that segment. I like playing Overreaction. Anyway, by the way, I just want to address this too. Like somebody in the live chat, Mr. Starving Writer, that's a great name, Mr. Starving Writer, writes, John keeps forgetting that Nizza 2 already made $2 billion. If you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you. Like the Nizza, listen, I don't care what anybody else says. In my opinion, there is no way that Nizza 2 has made $2 billion. Just hasn't. And everybody said, just wait, John, when they release it in the rest of the world, you'll see. You know how much Nizza 2 made in North American box office this weekend? $7 million.
Got your ass.
Let me repeat that. $7 million. China is the only country in the world that does not submit their data to vetting and third-party verification for the truthfulness of their data. And if you believe China's box office reporting on a Chinese movie without being verified by outside third-party things, good for you. If you believe that, more power to you. I'm not going to argue with you. But I think the fact that now they're releasing it everywhere else and nobody's going to see it, sorry, you can believe it all you want if you want. And hey, maybe it's true. I don't have a private investigator looking into it and verifying that, but I think it's rather naive to believe that number. I don't believe it's true at all. So you can, the reason, so people always ask me, John, when you're talking about the box office, isn't that, why don't you bring up Nizza 2? Because it's a lie. I believe personally, in my own opinion, from everything that I've seen and looked at, I don't believe the veracity of that at all. And now that it's being released in other countries more widely and nobody's going to see it, I think it backs up my position on that. But, it is what it is. Anyway, with that all down, guys, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? And the next one is this. Everybody forever now, when you think of Rainn Wilson, you're going to think of The Office. But he's also friends with James Gunn. And of course, James Gunn is now putting together his DC universe. And one of the characters that has come up a couple of times that we thought could be an interesting possibility for the DCU is Plastic Man, who, don't be fooled, he is straight up one of the most terrifying and most powerful characters in DC, to the point that I remember in the sequel to The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
Like, Batman, in an internal monologue, basically says to the audience, this guy, talking about Plastic Man, can kill all of us without even trying. He could kill all of us. If you jump forward to like one of my favorite comic book stories ever, and it's a more recent one, but the Injustice Gods Among Us storyline, in that, there's only really one guy who's got the balls to straight up walk into Superman's throne room and literally point his finger right in his face and bitch talk him because he's Plastic Man, and like completely get in Superman's face. And I love this. This whole segment of this story, there's this thing in Just Gods Among Us where Superman and his gaggle of guys, they imprison Plastic Man's son. And Plastic Man is like, bitch, I ain't having this.
Yep.
And like literally watch when Superman is killing other superheroes, he gets right. That's Plastic Man. I think Plastic Man could be incredibly amazing in it. Anyway. Well, apparently, according to a story here in Superhero Hype, James Gunn was approached and pitched by Rainn Wilson to do Plastic Man. And Rainn Wilson wants to play it himself. Says this, coming out of Entertainment Weekly. I've hinted to James several times like, hey man, you've got to do something with Plastic Man. He's one of my favorite DC characters, and I've loved him growing up, Wilson noted. First introduced in the comic books in 1941, Plastic Man is a former criminal who goes by the name of Patrick L. O'Brien in real life. After a heist at a chemical plant goes awry, which back then seems to be how all the superheroes got their powers, Brian acquired powers to stretch his body as per his whims. He decides to use the thing, blah, blah. Anyway, when Wilson made it clear that he wants to play Plastic Man in the DCU, he would still tune in to see a project centered around the quirky superhero, even if Gunn cast somebody else in the part. I would be a fan, even if I wasn't in it. I would love to watch that and play him, the 59-year-old actor said. Weird to think about Rainn Wilson being 59 years old. Dwight's 59. Schrute Farms has been around a while. And not that Rob would understand that phrase because he is a office virgin. All right. You guys already know I like the idea of bringing Plastic Man. I think he would be a perfect fit in a James Gunn DC universe. I think James Gunn would know exactly how to use him to make him actually work in it. I think he'd be great, little powerful, but I think he would be pretty fantastic in there. I love Rainn Wilson. Actually, he had a little show, I think it was on Fox. I think it only had one season where he played like a cop in this, I think it was in Alaska, this Alaskan town or something like that. It was either a New Mexico town or Alaskan town. I can't remember. And if any of you guys remember the show, remember the name of the show, let me know in the live chat. And I thought it was really good. I kind of wished it got a second season and never did. But anyway, I really like him. He was great in the Weird Al Yankovic movie. He's fantastic. But I do not see him. Backstrom, thank you, Marcus Y. was the first one to put it in there. Backstrom. If you guys, seriously, it only lasted one season. I thought it was really good. Anyway, I don't see Rainn Wilson as Plastic Man. If you had asked me 15 years ago, maybe, but it's not just his age. That's not just it. I mean, the age is an issue too. I don't know if you want a 60-year-old playing Plastic Man, but even if it was 15 years ago, I'd be a little bit more open to it. But as much as I love Rainn Wilson, I think he's great. I don't know if I see him as a fit for that character, but I am 100% with him, Rob, on wanting to see the character in there. Anyway, you saw this story. What do you take away from it?
Well, look, actor wants role. Not a surprise. But I do think that Plastic Man, handled correctly, will fit right into what James Gunn's doing in that universe. I mean, I can't help but think what Plastic Man facing off against Peacemaker would be like.
Oh my God.
I mean, it'd be pretty hilarious. So I think that the idea of Plastic Man is great. I mean, I think what James Gunn's doing in terms of the age of superheroes is probably appropriate, that a lot of these characters are going to be aged around their late 20s into their mid 30s. I think that's what he kind of has to do. I don't know if Rainn Wilson as a 59-year-old Plastic Man would be the best thing in the world, but I bet it would be funny.
They'd find a way to make it funny.
I bet it'd be amusing. So no, I mean, I can understand why people are going to pitch to him, but yeah, I think Spider-Man would fit right in. I just don't know if Rainn Wilson's the guy to be Plastic Man.
By the way, a couple people in the live chat are throwing in, this is a name I really like for this, actually. I have other guys, I've mentioned on the show, other people I'd like to see play the role, but this is going, some people are saying Ben Schwartz. The guy does the voice of Sonic.
Yeah, that's a
From
good
Parks
idea.
and Rec?
That's a good idea.
I really like that
Yeah.
idea. He'd be a baller Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Anyway, guys, so yeah, the basic gist is I love the idea of Plastic Man coming into this universe. You might have to depower him a little bit. I just don't know that Rainn Wilson, as great as he is, I don't know if that's the right role for him. Maybe something else in the DCU. Anyway, guys, whatever you think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Ooh, I've got a DCU character for Rainn Wilson. Mr. Mixelplex.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's not bad.
Because that fits.
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to this next one here, shall we? And that is this. Peacemaker Season 2 had its triumphant debut. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. John Cena has gotten much better as an actor overall. The comedy was still there. The way it fit right in with Superman. I thought the retcon was genius in its simplicity. All that kind of stuff. The question is, do people actually want to watch it? Coming off of Season 1 and more importantly, coming off of Superman. Did people want to watch it? The answer to that question is holy crap, yes. As according to Superhero Hype, Peacemaker Season 2 post-Superman release results in a huge viewership surge. Let's read this. Peacemaker Season 2, which debuted on Max on August 21st, has witnessed a significant rise in viewership from the first season. Peacemaker serves as a spin-off to the 2021 feature Suicide Squad. The show premiered on January 13th of 2022 and garnered a positive response from the critics and general audiences alike for its inaugural chapter. I loved Season 1. However, it seems that the sophomore season has performed even better. According to Samba TV, the Peacemaker Season 2 premiere, get this, drew 22% more viewers than the Season 1 finale. Not
Wow.
22% more viewers than the average viewership of Season 1. Not 22% more than the premiere of Season 1. 22% jump from the finale, which is traditionally the highest viewed episode. That and the premieres. 22% more U.S. households tuning in over its first 4 days than the Season 1 finale in 2022. Turns out, the wait only made the hype stronger, the company posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. All right. This says a couple of things to me. Number one, the gamble of having Season 2 coming on the heels and act as a de facto continuation of Superman, that gamble worked. People saw Superman. They loved it. Peacemaker's the next chapter of this DCU. Great. 22% viewership surge over the finale of Season 1. That does not happen often. So there's that. Number two, it tells me that people love Season 1 and that a number of people have discovered the show in the interim period between the end of Season 1 in 2022 and where we're at now. And it kind of validates that. The third takeaway from this is the audience is embracing the new DCU. They are. There are always going to be some loud cows out there mooing at the moon. They're always going to be out there. And hey, fair play. If somebody just watched it, gave it a shot and didn't like it, that's fair. That's totally fair. But despite that, clearly the data is showing us people are embracing this new DCU and it's working for them, despite the fact that Superman is very family friendly, although it does have some pretty heavy stuff in it. Some straight up headshot murders, but fairly family friendly. And Peacemaker is not. It's for us adults. But people are embracing it and they're liking it. And it's now granted, it's only 2 projects in, and granted, it's only 1 episode in. But the trajectory is clearly very positive. Now, there may be some people out there that are going to try to convince you otherwise. No! But they're going to be out there and they're going to try to convince you otherwise. But sorry, the data's the data. Doesn't mean you need to like it. It's all subjective, absolutely. But there's a lot to take away from this. Anyway, Rob, I'm going to tell you, I was expecting to see good viewership numbers.
Sure.
Because I'm optimistic that way. I was not expecting to see these kinds of numbers. Anyway, what do you take away from these stats?
Well, clearly, the combination of the first season of Peacemaker, people also being able to catch up. You know, the people that heard about it and finally caught up over the interim since the time we had the first season drop, and then the Superman factor, all of these things played into it. So this is not surprising to me that it had these kinds of numbers. I think, to me, it's right along the lines of where it should be, because I think there's a lot of people that probably, even hearing Peacemaker was good, didn't watch it, and then they reluctantly
I thought it looked like crap initially, to be honest with you.
And then people hear about it, they tune in, and I think that's what happens. Like, you know, we've talked about, I keep thinking about something like The Terminator, which did well, you know, but when it went on cable and it was on home video, everybody saw it. So by the time Terminator 2 rolled around, first $100 million movie in 1991, it was a huge hit, made over $500 million at the time. Same thing with this. I mean, Peacemaker is, you know, in a way, it has the same level of violence and sex as something like The Boys.
Yeah.
But it has a sweet, wholesome center.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, you're right.
You know,
somehow
like,
it has a real sweetness
like
to
The
it.
Boys is just the most cynical, dark, evil, off-putting. You want to kill yourself? Go right ahead. You know, whereas this is Peacemaker, it's like, I'm feeling depressed. I'm going to do a bunch of drugs, and there's an orgy raging around me. But I'm going to go find my brother.
But what I really want is I want my brother that I lost, and I want the affections of my dad.
Yes, and that's what James Gunn does. So at the end of the day, it might be a hard R, but it puts a smile on your face and it makes your heart feel warm.
Yeah.
Your heart is full at the end of Peacemaker.
My heart smiles when I watch
And then you got
Peacemaker.
Eagly.
Oh God. We haven't hit the scene yet, and I don't know when it's going to come. But there's a segment in one of the trailers where Eagly brings in a human finger, and Peacemaker looks at him and says, "I'm going to choose to believe you found that," which I just thought was one of the best lines. Now, of course, look, it is one thing to have big viewership for the first episode,
Yeah.
especially coming off the success of season 1, coming off of Superman. And it clearly shows us that people are jumping on board to the DCU.
Sure.
But for the show itself, what does the viewership in episode 2 do? It would be normal to plateau, because again, normally for a lot of shows, the biggest viewed episodes are either the finale, which is normally the biggest one, if the show's good. It's never good when the viewership goes down to your finale. And the debut, because people want to check out the new season. Will episode 2 at least plateau and keep the numbers that it got, or will it rise, or will it drop? I mean, I thought the episode was great, so I know I'm tuning in for the second one. What do you see happening for Peacemaker season episode 2?
I think the show has brought about quite an intriguing premise, and the way they left episode 1, I'm like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know it left me the way. You know, when you have a serialized show and something like Peacemaker, I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger, but it definitely was an ending where I'm coming back. Like, what's going to happen now? Now you have to lead the double life. And how far can you take that before you screw it all up? Which is what inevitably is going to happen to him.
And what's going to happen when a certain couple of characters realize you aren't who you are saying you are? And,
right. And
it had all the questions that great TV shows leave us asking.
Yes. The very soap opera-esque questions in a way. It's like, look, if he wanted to stay in this other universe with his brother and his dad, would we blame him? And I think that's where they're going, because there's that clip that they showed coming up in the season. You know, we have to go save our friend. So it's going to be really interesting. And then this door has to close, I think. I mean,
yeah, you know. It's going to be really interesting to see where they go. And to the point of this conversation, how will the viewership go? Is it going to do what season 1 did, where more and more people just jumped on as the season went forward? We'll have to find out. Whatever you guys think, do you take away anything from these numbers? Maybe the 22% increase in viewership doesn't mean anything to you. Maybe there's a list of things you think it means. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, there's two things we got to do. First, bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend.
Thanks, John. This was a lot of fun.
We'll
I will
see you
be
tomorrow.
back tomorrow.
And the second thing we need to do is we're going to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends over at the Wednesday Wocast.
Hey guys, John here. If you're dying for the next batch of Wednesday Season 2 to drop on Netflix, then I'll let you in on a secret. The Wednesday Season 2 official Wocast is already here. Prepare to dive deeper into the mysteries of Wednesday with the ultimate companion video podcast. Join the frightfully funny Caitlin Riley, along with her producer, Thing, as she sits down with the marvelous cast and crew. Together, they'll unravel shocking twists, dissect the dynamics lurking beneath, unearth the deep Addams Family lore, and answer all of your lingering questions that simply refuse to stay buried. Guests include Emma Myers, Joy Sunday, Steve Buscemi, Fred Armiston, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and of course, Jenna Ortega. With 8 delightfully dark episodes to devour, you'll be drawn deeper into the haunting halls of Nevermore Academy than ever before. But be careful, you know where curiosity often leads. The Wednesday Season 2 official Wocast is available now in audio and video on Tadoom.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. You've been warned.
All right, guys, let's get on to the important stuff here, shall we? Your comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
First up, we've got Late to the Party. Hi, folks. There's a Netflix house opening in my area. This is the first I'm hearing about this. Are you familiar with what it's all about? As always, your insights are greatly appreciated.
You know what's funny? I just saw something about this, that they're opening up a Netflix house in Philadelphia. I think they said Philadelphia.
It's like their own little Comic-Con, but for Netflix only. So like installations in there, you can walk around and interactive like sets and stuff like that for their hit movies. It's a big kind of warehouse thing, so you can go to different areas.
Because I know Ann and we recently went to, at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, they opened a Netflix restaurant where the restaurant, you look, is all themed to popular shows from Netflix, and all the menu items are themed to popular Netflix shows as well. So I knew that, but I was just seeing this news story about a Netflix, I wasn't really aware of it.
Yeah.
So until I saw that news headline, so I don't have any insights about it, except it's a pretty cool idea. All right. What's next?
We got, excuse me, Dan the Fan. Hey guys, what if the Doctor Doom Tony came from Tony talking to his dad in Endgame when they go back in time for the Space Stone and Pym particles? What if the conversation has a butterfly effect? But the problem is that Doom comes from the Fantastic Four's world, where it's like a 60s-esque kind of world. I mean,
to be fair, we don't know that the Doctor Doom we're getting in Avengers Doomsday is a Doctor Doom that comes from Fantastic Four universe.
That's true.
We don't even know for sure that the Doctor Doom at the end of Fantastic Four is even from that universe. It's likely, but again, we don't factually know. The difference here is that, again, Marvel has been obnoxiously messy with trying to give definitions of what, again, 5 different movies and TV shows have 5 different explanations for what multiverse is to them. Anyway, it seems to me, though, that we are talking about literally a separate universe. We're not talking about a split off time. This is not the TVA's timelines issue, which is what you're describing. I think we're talking about a completely separate universe that it's coming from. So I don't think that's the way they're going to approach it. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, but it seems like it would contradict the way they've set it up. So I don't think that's what they're going to do. But you never know. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
we got Paul Blart, RoboCop. Deadline recently reported on a Ke Huy Quan horror film called Bad Boy, told from the perspective of a dog who realizes his owner is a serial killer. Hasn't shot yet, so will the popularity of Good Boy help or hurt the chances of this? I don't know if it's great.
Honestly, I don't think Good Boy is going to have any impact whatsoever on whether this project gets greenlit or not. Remember, Good Boy, which I'm very excited to watch, but Good Boy is a very small budget film that was initially just planned to have a limited theatrical release to help support it when it goes out on streaming.
Right.
The way they should be doing it. But the response to it was so positive, IFC decided, let's give this thing a wide release. And I'm excited about that. Now, I don't think that movie's going to make $200 million. So it's not going to be a big needle mover. So even if it's terrible and nobody sees it, I don't think that impacts Ke-Huy Quan's project. If the movie does make $200 million, I don't think it impacts Ke-Huy Quan's project. It's going to be its own thing. And as of right now, like, even though, did you get around to seeing that little movie he did called Love Hurts?
I did. I saw it when it first came out. And I get it. Not a lot of people liked it, and I'm on the fence.
Yeah, not great.
But it was
I think
okay.
It's at least fair to say that it's not great.
Yeah, not great. But it was okay.
So that, I still think he is one of the most charismatic, fun to watch, enjoyable presences on screen. So I'll definitely check this out. But again, I don't think Good Boy will really affect it one way or the other. All right, what's next?
Scooby Drool has a two-parter. Hello, John. Sad to hear that Daredevil on Disney Plus will end after season 2. Truly sad. What happened? Why did Daredevil on Disney Plus fail to bring a lot of viewership numbers as compared to when the show was on Netflix? Also, does this mean Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and The Punisher won't get return shows on Disney Plus? Have a wonderful and a great day.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you for saying that in. Secondly, we should point out that there has been nothing official that says it will end after season 2. Now, there was this thing that happened a few weeks ago, and we talked about it on the show, where Charlie Cox referred to the upcoming second season as the final season. Now, we said it's possible he may have just misspoke. We pointed out that Vincent D'Onofrio seemed to suggest otherwise. And the showrunners recently come out and said, no, there's still a chance for season 3. There is still very much a live chance for season 3. We'll see what happens with season 2.
Yeah.
But to your point, Daredevil Born Again, which I thought was really good.
I did too.
Not necessarily as good as the seasons we had on Netflix, but I still thought it was really good. Did not draw in big viewership. As a matter of fact, Agatha All Along had significantly bigger numbers than Daredevil Born Again did. Which brings into question, how popular has Daredevil ever actually been? We just don't know. All I know is that I like it. Whether we get a season 3 is totally going to depend, I think, on the response to season 2. Do the numbers go up? Do they go down? If it goes down, I don't care what anybody says. Kevin Feige himself could come out right now and say, yes, we're going to do Daredevil season 3. If Daredevil season 2 comes out and its viewership numbers go down, doesn't matter. They won't do a season 3. Yeah. So it all depends, man. It's really going to depend on that. And we'll see what kind of evolves. But I don't think we're going to know anything definitively, no matter what anybody says, until we see what happens with season 2. All right, what's next?
We got Be Cool Yolanda with a two-parter. I saw Batman and Batman Returns in Dolby last night. I was tempted to go see the Batman 89. I saw the 35th anniversary screening of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a few days prior. I'm seeing Jaws for its 50th in IMAX this weekend. I'm seeing it Thursday. I'm loving experiencing some of my favorite at the theater. It also makes me happy to see people discovering classics this way. I overheard a girl after my showing of Batman saying that was her first time seeing it and she loved it. That's what it's all about. Movies are the stuff dreams are made of.
I mean, I'm going to get to go see the thing we talked about at the beginning of the show for the movie meetup little tour we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to see the thing on the big screen for the first time. I'm going to see Two Towers on the big screen for the first time in, 15 years. It's always, I love that movie theaters, especially ones that have so many screens. Like today, very, very rare is the single screen art house or the 2-screen art house. Like a lot of these movie theaters, minimum will have like 6 to 8 screens. Some have like 20 plus screens. And it's great that every once in a while they use those screens to show some of these more classic movies that we get to go and watch. And for some people, maybe even watch them for the first time. When we did our movie meetup in San Diego, the movie we watched was the 20th anniversary screening of The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things about that meetup we did in San Diego was how many people there came out and said it was their first time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, now you get it, right? Like it is in my opinion, it's the greatest comedy ever made. I love the 40-year-old version. But you know what was depressing to me though, Jonathan? The number of people who were there.
Oh no, I know what you're gonna say.
That weren't even born when that movie came out.
I was like, no, don't say it.
It's like, hey, do you like 40-year-old virgin? Oh, it's my first time watching it. I'm like, oh, you never saw it when it was in theaters? I wasn't born yet when it was in theaters. I'm like, fuck you, kid.
That's impossible because humans haven't been born any sooner than 1995. So
it was kind of crazy. But yeah, that is great when you get to have those experiences with these movies on the big screen again. All right, what's next?
We got David Jenkins. Hey guys, I have a hot take. After Mandalorian, we won't see Force users and lightsabers on the big screen for 10 plus years. I think Starfighter will be the new type of Star Wars story we get. It will be grounded emotional storytelling like Andor.
Completely disagree.
Yeah, I do too.
I think what Andor has done, though, has shown, listen, the Jedi and Force users represent less than 0.00000000001% of the people in the galaxy. What Andor has shown is you can tell great, compelling, world-shaking Star Wars stories with everybody else other than Force users. But that doesn't mean you just move away from them entirely. So what I think Andor has done is it means we will get more stories like Starfighter. By the way, who's to say that Ryan Gosling's character isn't a Force-sensitive character?
Right.
I mean, I doubt it, but it's possible. I think you're going to get more movies and shows like Andor that doesn't rely on Jedi and Sith and Inquisitors and whatever. But I also don't think they're going to move entirely away from it because that's kind of a part of the core DNA of Star Wars. So I disagree. I don't think we're going to get one every year, but I don't think it's going to be 10 years until we see a lightsaber again. I don't agree with at all. All right, what's next?
I Am Justice says, John, forgive my ignorance, but why are directors needed for animated movies? What do they do? How much can you direct a voice actor in a booth compared to an actor doing live action on a set?
The exact same they do with a live action film.
Yep.
I want this character, whether you're doing an animated film or a live action film, what's the character supposed to do now? I want the character to move from here to here. I want him to do this action and I want him to say this line, but I want it done in this particular way. Also, I want the lighting to be changed here. I want the music to, there literally is practically no difference in what a director does on an animated film versus a live action film. It's just some of the practicality changes. Instead of being on a set, you're sitting in a room with the creatives doing it, but the director is still the director. The director is orchestrating and dictating everything that happens in the movie. So yeah, there's really, on a practical level, there's no difference. It's just, the only thing that's different is where the director is sitting. That's really the only difference, but the director still does everything in an animated film that they do in a live action film. All right, what's next?
All right, Anonymous says, I don't know, they don't like Gen AI. Shame on A24 opening a Gen AI division. I would expect A24 to know that AI will lead to bad PR, which Disney knows. A24 is willing to throw away their goodwill for a technology that can only make films worse, and the bubble is about to burst.
You're wrong. Sorry. There's nothing that says that generative AI will only make movies worse. You're just wrong. Generative AI it's like any other tool. It can be used right and it can be used wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It can be used in a way that delivers great product. It can be used in a way that delivers really poor product, but it's not in that way. It's just the same as any other tool. I remember when Apple, follow me here because you see how this connects. I remember when Apple put out, I believe it was the iMac that didn't have a floppy disk drive. Now, today, what's a floppy disk drive? But every computer had one. Every computer had one. But Apple understood before most that we were moving away from that. And they put out this iMac that did not have a floppy disk drive. And everybody at the time was like, how could they possibly? Everybody needs those. No one's going to buy this computer now because everybody needs it. Well, guess what happened? At the time, it became the highest selling product of all time, and it literally saved their company. Because they were kind of ahead of the curve, and sometimes new technology is sometimes threatening to people. I still remember back when 3D animation was coming in, when the first Toy Story came out, that really kind of popularized computer animation and stuff like that. People were saying, this is terrible. Animation should only be done by hand. Real animation is done by real animators sitting at a draft desk with their pencils and that's real animation. This computer stuff is going to destroy animated movies. It's going to destroy animation. It's going to be terrible for the movies. I mean, I get it, because at the time it was new. It was scary. It was changing the paradigm a little bit. But eventually now, a lot of us consider some CGI animated films are some of the best animated films ever made. Generative AI is just the next evolution of technology, of what it can do. And it's iterative. It really is iterative of what it can do to help do this or help do that. And again, there's some really bad generative AI and there's some really good generative AI. And if generative AI can help a filmmaker tell a story that otherwise they couldn't have told for the budget they have or the money they have or the resources they have or don't have, use it. Look, again, when technology evolved to the point that if we wanted to make a phone call, we no longer had to pick up the phone and call the operator, say, operator, please connect me to blah, 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 blah. But you're taking jobs away from operators. Yes, but technology is changing. And so again, generative AI to me is neither a good or a bad thing. It is just a thing. Its value or lack thereof comes from, what does somebody do with it? When do you recognize that this works or this doesn't? But this whole kind of blanket statement that generative AI, all bad, leading to the ruination of movies. I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's just a tool that's in the hands of filmmakers to do something that maybe they couldn't have done otherwise. Anyway, that's just kind of my take on. Look, obviously, this is a part of a much larger discussion, all right? There's a lot of nuance to it that I'm not going into here, both positively and negatively. But I don't believe any blanket statement about generative AI is true at all. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Garden Variety says The Toxic Avenger is out this weekend and is rated 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you seeing it?
No. I love Peter Dinklage. I just don't think the trailer looked good. Now, to be fair, I didn't think the trailers for the original Peacemaker season 1 looked good either. And I ended up loving that. I mean, that happens. So if I get a bunch of people write to me to tell me the new Toxic Avenger is really, really great, well, then maybe I'll give it a shot. But right now, I actually don't think it looks good. So I'm not planning on seeing it. But I could have my mind changed if enough of you guys tell me you thought it was awesome. All right, what's next?
Jake says, have you ever checked out Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire series on AMC? Has outstanding writing, great performance, especially from Jacob Anderson as Louis, Grey Worm from Game of Thrones. It makes the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise film look like an SNL sketch.
Well, I highly doubt that. But no, I haven't. But first of all, I don't even know how to watch it because I don't know that I have. And by the way, the AMC television network is not the same as the AMC movie theater chain. They're two completely different companies. A lot of people still think they're connected. They're not in any way. They're completely different companies, have no association with one another at all. Anyway, I don't even know if I have the ability to watch something on AMC.
You may have it if you still have your YouTube cable.
I do have YouTube cable. I do
may have the
YouTube
AMC
TV.
channel on there.
Is it? Okay, well,
Maybe.
Anyway, so to the point, I have heard honestly great things about this show. I've heard that it's really, really good, but I've just I've never even known how to watch it, to be honest with you. So no, I've never checked it out, but not for any other reason than I've just not gotten around to it. But I have heard it's a really, really good show. Just kind of backing up what you said.
It looks like it is included in the channel package for YouTube TV.
For YouTube TV?
AMC,
Well, so
yeah,
there's
network.
a way I can watch it if I ever get around to it.
There you go.
All right,
All
what's
right,
next?
We got Corey. I saw a trailer for Begonia for the first time on Sunday. If I didn't know it was being talked about so highly for the Oscars, I would never want to see it because the trailer was terrible. Have you seen it? If so, what did you think?
No, I have not seen it. Although I know they're already talking about what's his name? The lead guy. Was that the one with Jesse Plemons?
I gotta look this up.
Is Jesse Plemons the one who's in Begonia? Anyway, they're already
Sounds
talking
familiar.
about like a best actor.
Emma Stone. This is the one we're talking about, right? With Emma Stone.
I can't remember who's the lead actor.
Jesse Plemons, Alicia
Okay, it is
Silverstone.
the Jesse Plemons one. Yeah,
Alicia
yeah.
Silverstone and Emma Stone.
They're already saying Jesse Plemons is like the lead, the number one front horse contender to win Best Actor this year for this. And they're saying the number 2 is Dwayne Johnson in The Smashing Machine, which again, I haven't seen yet. So no, I haven't seen the trailer for it yet. I'm familiar with the film. We talked about Jesse Plemons in it the other day, but I haven't watched the trailer for it yet myself, but I will because clearly it's already an Oscar buzz movie. So we'll have to see.
Okay,
All
and
right,
here's our last of the tips. Anonymous says, while I'm throwing out fan casting, Kieran Hines as Moody, Brendan Gleeson's character, and my future wife, Amelia Clark, as Bellatrix Lestrange, Helena Bonham Carter's character.
Amelia Clark is pretty good.
She could do that.
That's pretty good. By the way, I bring that up again.
There you go.
Hines, Kieran Hines. I just watched, we were going to talk about it today, but I bumped it off till tomorrow. I just watched him in a new trailer this morning called Is This Thing On? It's Bradley Cooper's new directed movie. With the guy what's the guy who does the voice of Batman, the Lego Batman? And he was married to Amy Poehler. And I'm forgetting his name.
Oh, yeah. Of course. I listened to him Smartless.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett, yes.
So it stars Will Arnett, and it's a really good trailer. We're going to talk about, again, we were going to talk about today, but we just had enough stuff to talk about, so we'll push off till tomorrow. But he's in it. Hines is in that too. So yes, I could totally see him as that character, as a matter of fact. That's actually a pretty good call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's
Okay,
next?
we got some member questions here. Judy says, this question is just for fun and for fans of the comics. To John and Chad, are there any symbiotes you wish to see on screen at some point? Mine would be Scream, Anti-Venom, and a proper She-Venom and Agony. But you need Anti-Venom, you need Mr. Negative, right? Isn't that how Anti-Venom was created? I can't recall.
I can't remember.
I might be off on that. Love you guys. Keep up the filthy.
Honestly, I'm only interested in one symbiote, and that's Venom himself. I really am. And if they ever bring Venom into the MCU, which now that they're done with Venom over in the Sony verse, maybe Sony will allow Marvel to use the character in an MCU environment.
Yeah.
If they do, I don't want to see them do what they did in Venom, which every Venom movie has to have other symbiotes. Just let Venom be the symbiote. It's kind of the way I would like to approach. I don't know, Jonathan, do you have any?
I really did, and I was kind of like along what you said. Although Dark Knight brought up Agent Venom, who is Flash Thompson,
Right?
And, yeah. I thought that was kind of a cool. Like you could have him as like a.
And he's the one that was in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Because for a while Venom joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think it was the Flash Thompson one.
I think so too.
All right. What's next?
Amin says, did you see the first trailer for Chloe Zhao's new film Hamnet that dropped this morning? Looks incredible. Going to be big awards contender. I'm seeing it at TIFF.
No, I'm very familiar with the film, but I did not see, by the time we started this show today, I did not see that the trailer had dropped. So again, Chloe Zhao, again, an Oscar-winning director, a DGA Director of the Year winner. I think she's a tremendous director. So I've been looking forward to seeing this, but no, by the time we started the show this morning, I had not seen that the trailer dropped.
A great period piece. This is an Oscar kind of like.
Yeah, everybody's talking about this is getting Oscar buzz already. So I'll definitely check that out later today.
Yeah. King Daddy Goat. Hey crew, checked out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood today. All right, nice. Can't believe I haven't seen it sooner. It's not my favorite Tarantino movie and maybe not top 5, but it's still a really good film, and I wish Tarantino would do more as a film-loving fan. Thanks, Bring on the Filthy. I did not have a bad time during the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not, even though it wasn't my favorite of his.
You know what? I'm in the exact same class with you on that. I don't think it's one of Tarantino's better films, but I thought it was quite good.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it. The stuff with the flamethrower. It's just come on. You know what really lost me in the movie though? Almost everything to do with Margot Robbie. And it's not Margot Robbie's fault. But it's like we spent 20 minutes as Margot Robbie is just walking around town and goes into this shop. And the 1 ticket, please. And then goes into the theater.
I think it was to like endear her to us so that we didn't want her to die.
You can do that in 2 minutes, not 20.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I still quite enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good, but I'm in agreement with you. It is not in my upper echelon of not at the bottom either, but it's not in my upper echelon of my favorite Tarantino films.
Yeah. And yet still a great movie.
All right, last one for me today.
Sure.
What's next?
We got Back Fandango. Did you see Werner Herzog just started an Instagram to chronicle his everyday life? I'm really excited to see what his post would be. I would like to see the baby.
Werner Herzog is one of the most awesome humans to ever walk the earth. He did a little movie. He acted in a little movie. I believe it was called The Grand. And he's in it, and it starred Woody Harrelson. And you know I'm a poker player. So it's a poker movie, basically, where the owner of this hotel casino in Las Vegas called The Grand passes away, and he's going to leave the entire hotel to whoever wins a winner-take-all poker tournament. And Werner Herzog plays one of the players who comes to play in this tournament. And it's done documentary style, kind of like The Office or whatever, right? And when Werner Herzog shows up to the hotel to check in, because he's going to play in this tournament, he's got all these crates of animals. And you're like, why is he bringing all these animals? And then when they're doing a confessional interview with him for the documentary, they go like, how do you have the endurance to go through such long, grueling days playing poker? He goes, and he's sitting there petting a rabbit. He goes, every day I kill one living thing with my bare hands. And you're like, oh no. And you realize what all the animals were being brought in. This is a dude. Werner Herzog is a dude who was once, true story, being interviewed, doing an interview. And you can hear
oh yeah.
And he pauses, goes, wait, I've been shot. He got shot. And he kept going with the interview. I was shot anyway. And then I'm like, he is the ultimate G, Werner Herzog. He's like one of the coolest guys ever to walk the face of the earth. So I'll definitely check that out. It's going to be the weirdest thing ever. Yeah. Him kind of vlogging. Werner Herzog daily vlogging. What? All right. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. A big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for your support. A big thanks, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett, to our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, everybody. And until tomorrow, my friends, bye-bye.